Hi everyone, let's continue our discussion with regards to the estimation of parameters. Before that, we are going to review first the confidence interval when the population standard deviation is known. As we can recall sa ato ang previous nga video nga akong gi-share sa inyo we can find the confidence interval given ang ato ang population nga standard deviation using the Z statistic. Now, it is given by this formula that the estimation of our population mean, which is denoted by mu, is greater than the difference between the sample mean and the standard and the margin of error, and less than the sample mean plus the sample mean plus the margin of error. So, in short, this is how we get to estimate, or we get the confidence interval or the interval estimate for our population mu. So take note, in here, we are using the Z statistic and naka-alpha over 2 siya. So I already had my discussion also previously nga nung na over 2 na siya. Now let's proceed. Let's continue our discussion sa estimation of parameters. So this topic covers the topic for week 5 to 6. So, there are instances also nga ang ato ang population standard deviation is dili siya given. No? And you are going to estimate for the population mean, which is mu. So, this is now the time that we are going to use the T distribution or the T statistic. So, we are going to use the T statistic when the number of sample is greater than or equal to 30, tapos unknown pag yun sa population standard deviation. If unknown ang atong population standard deviation, that's the time nga atong gamiton si sample standard deviation as the substitute for sigma. So, we have to make sure with this assumption nga ma-meet niya. First, the sample is a random sample. That is necessary in order to avoid bias. And second, it's either n is greater than or equal to 30, pwede siya, magamitan nato siya sa T statistic, or the population is normally distributed even if the number of sample is less than siya sa 30. Pero kung i-follow siya sa normal distribution, pwede ragyapon nato siya magamitan sa ato ang T statistic. So, what is this T all about? So, T statistic or the T distribution is given by this equation. So, muna siya ang equation na gamito nato para makita nato ang iyang confidence interval. So, familiar siya sa inyo, no? It's almost similar to the previous discussion katong Z. Ang nakalahi lang kani siya nahimo ng T instead of Z. Ang sigma nahimo na siyang S instead of kadto siya. So, ang nakalahi pod sa T is natay gitawag nga degrees of freedom. So, the degrees of freedom is denoted by V by some books, and that is given by n-1. So, n is our sample size minus 1. Other books just use DF to denote degrees of freedom. So, others will use V, others will use DF. They're still the same. So, inigkuha na to sa interval, the same nga formula sa atong previous. Ang kalahian lang gyud is kani siya. So, muna ni siya karon ato ang margin of error. Okay, so let's have an example. Ang bilis pala. Okay, an admission officer of an educational institution wants to know the mean age of all entering mathematics majors. He computed a mean age of 18 years and a standard deviation of 1.2 years on a random sample of 25 students purportedly coming from a normally distributed population. With 99% confidence, find the point estimate and the interval estimate of the population mean. Okay, so let us understand first the scenario. So, imagine you are the admission officer and you are interested to know the mean age sa mga mag-math majors sa the next school year. So, it was found out that 18 di ay ang 18 ang iyang mean average sa 25 ka students with the standard deviation of 1.2. So, let us take note of the given. So we have 18 kana siya i-sample mean na siya. Kay mo man nay average sa 25 ka Muna average nga edad sa 25 ka students no nga iyahang gikuhaan as sample. Si 1.2 years is our standard deviation sa sample nga 25. That's why we denote it by S. So wala na laing data. We also have N which is 25. So wala na ko nabutang. Okay, alpha. Our alpha is 0.01. This is the level of significance. We get 0.01 because 99% man ang ato ang confidence level. Gisubtract lang nato si 1 by 0.99 so we obtain the alpha. Okay, first let's answer ang una niyang pangutana. Find the point estimate. Kung atong balikan tong sampling distribution nato, if naka-remember pa mo sa iyang property nga ang mean sa sampling distribution is equal to the population mean. So in this case, ang atong point estimate is just equal to the sample mean and that is equal to 18. So ang atong estimate for our population is just 18. So no need na ta mag-solve din na, no need na ta mag-show of solution. Now, for our second concern, ang interval estimate, that's the time na gamitan nato siya atong margin of error. So, let's complete first the given. We have n 25. We have our degrees of freedom, so n minus 1, so nahimo siyang 24. And next is we need to find for the t alpha over 2. Since interval man siya, so alpha over 2 gid siya kay in the middle ba atong tan-awan ana. So we are given with 0.01. Tapos 2 tails man siya. So tan-aw nato ni siyang 2 tails. Tapos kung ato ni siyang tungaon si alpha, ang alpha over 2 niya is equal to 0.05. 0.005, tama? Or just simply look at where is 99% na confidence interval. So naara siya diri. Here. And in this side, in the first column, naatay DF, degrees of freedom, meaning nasubtrakan na ni siya og 1, no? DF na ni siya dito. So, muato lang ta kay 24. And then, ato ra dayon siyang itungod-tungod sa 99%, kay 99 man ang ato ang confidence level. So, we have the value of T alpha over 2 nga 2.797. So now, complete na ang atong given. We'll now proceed to the solution. So, first, para dili kaayo wordy or kininggubot kayong solution, i-separate lang nato og solve ang ato ang margin of error. So, substitute lang nato ato ang mga values gikan diri sa given. And we obtain the error which is 67 hundredths. So, to get the interval, just substitute. Okay, we have 18 as our sample mean. Substitute the error. And so, ang estimate nato sa atong population mean is between 7.33 and 18.67. So, ang mga magsulod di ay nga mga math major, we are 99%, there's a 99% probability nga ang tinuod nga population mean sa mga mosulod pagka math major is between the ages 17.33 and 18.67. So that's how you interpret the answer. Okay, now let's proceed to our second example. The mean scores of a random sample of 17 students who took a special test is 83.5. If the standard deviation of the scores is 4.1 and the sample comes from an approximately normal population, find the interval estimate of the population mean adopting confidence level of 95%. Okay, so ato ang gyapon ni siyang subton and take note of the given. So we have already the sample mean which is given by 83.5, our sample standard deviation 4.1, our alpha or the level of significance is 0.05, no? And then we have n which is the number of sample, so 17 kabuok. So therefore it follows nga atong degrees of freedom kay 16, minusan lang siya og 1. And our alpha over 2, okay, mobalik lang ka dito sa ato ang table, sa T-table, and look for the value of 95% nga naa siya sa two-tailed, and then tungod siya kang 16. So, kung inyong tanawan, that would be 2.131. But, i-review po ninyo, kaya basin ako po yung sayo. Okay. So, now let's solve. Okay, so we have 2.12. Parang naiwit yata ang given. Okay, yun. So, the same process ra gihapon ganina, after na to ma-identify ang mga given, i-substitute dayon nato siya aron makuha nato ato ang error. So, we have the error which is 2.12, and then mo na siya atong i-plus ug minus sa atong sample mean nga 83.5. So, ang average score sa 17 or sa population DI is nag-range siya between 81.38 and 85.62. Okay, so if you have other questions, you can browse other videos as your reference, or you may ask a question kung naa may kakulian sa inyong pag-understand sa akong discussion. Now, let's proceed to another estimation of parameters. In the previous weeks, atong gidiscuss ang pag-estimate nato sa parameter about the population mean, no? That's the population mean ang atong focus. This time, we will go to the estimation of the population proportion. So, I will continue the discussion on the population proportion in the next video. So, stay tuned.